it's 10:03. I think I might go ahead and get started. I don't want to wait too long. And I have so many notes, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have them up on my computer because I tried to narrow it down before the class or before the live. And I couldn't narrow it down because I feel like all of these notes are like so good. And I want to try and cover as many as I can. So, to just get started, the book that I'm covering here is Exactly What to Say. And I should have had the author up. It's three different authors, though, which is why it's hard for me to remember. They give you three different names: Jones, Smith, and Mackin. And it's Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. It was a really easy read. In fact, most of it, admittedly, I do Audible books, but I listened to most of it on a plane ride. It was super, super easy, and I was just taking notes like crazy. So it was really easy, very short book, but had a lot of information in it. And I was kind of skeptical because it's called Exactly What to Say. That I was a little bit like, are you really going to tell me exactly what to say? And it really does. So that's kind of cool. Um, I'm gonna get out of this. Sorry, just want to make sure I have only my notes pulled up because then I will confuse myself immediately. Um, so, like I said, to get started, that's what the book was, and it literally talks about basically how to control conversations that you have with like prospects or current clients, and how to kind of gear them towards the situations and the answers that you're looking for. Kind of a little bit like, I hate to use the word manipulative because I feel like that sounds really bad, but you're just manipulating the conversation to not only help your client and help them realize, they have nothing to be scared of, or that they're fighting for something that in the long run may not matter, but you're also, benefiting yourself because you're having these conversations. And ultimately, the big goal in all of your marketing and the conversations that you have is to build relationships. So, keeping that in mind, that's what all of this is for. So, when I use the word manipulation, I feel like that has it just sounds bad, but it really is for the better for both you and your client. So, we'll just go ahead and get started, and I'm going to go basically through exactly what to say and why these are good prompts to help you lead into conversations or avoid conflict or different things like that. It's all very, very cool. Sorry. I talk. I gotta keep drinking. So, to get started, as I said, it's to just help control conversations, know what questions. A good point he brings up is whomever is asking the questions is who's controlling the conversation. So, a lot of these are prompts for questions, and bringing the power back to you in these, because you want to prompt their subconscious to create opportunities for you. So you're using these certain words that prompt things, and we'll go through that and I'll talk to you about that. But it's all very cool, and to help, turn negatives into positives and negotiate and just kind of navigate through all the crazy conversations that you guys have. So the first one is maybe even the best one. I don't know. I'm going to say that about all of them. I'm not sure it's for you, but. So this is when you're kind of scared of getting rejected and you really want to offer something to somebody, but you need to leave the door open so that they don't just shut you out and say, no, I'm not interested. Mm-mm. You're saying, I'm not sure it's for you, but. So a good example for this is, I'm not sure it's for you, but I'm having an open house down the street this weekend and you're more than welcome to come. This is a great way to get people, when you get to do door knocking again, which is a whole topic in itself. Um, but if you're going around for an open house and you just want to let the neighbors know, I'm not sure it's for you, but I'm holding this open house, so if you know somebody who might want to live near you, you all are more than welcome to join. That leaves the door open, and it's like, oh, okay, thanks so much. And, if they need more information, that leaves the door open to get that information. If not, then, we're on to the next. It's totally fine, but it's a really great way to avoid rejection. The next one is, who do you know? So this is when it's funny, because I feel like this is what I hear a lot from people is, you don't want to be too salesy, too pushy, too like, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? And this is bringing a third person into it, so it's very non-threatening. So this is not saying, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? It's, hey, who do you know that might be moving to the area or could be looking to upgrade, or, different things like that. So let me see what my example was. And it's important to use may, might, or could. So do you know somebody that may be looking, somebody that might be moving here, things like that. So it could be them. So it's really just kind of a green light to pass your information along, or for them to give you their information. And even a bigger bonus, if it's them, if you're saying, who do you know that might be looking to move to the west side? And it could be like, oh, that's me. That's just even easier. You didn't have to directly ask them, but they say, hey, Mimi, pick me. So there's that. So that's a really great one of who do you know? The next one is would you be open-minded to? I think this is a really great negotiation tool for you guys because there's a lot that I feel like you have to kind of work through and talk through with your clients when you're trying to figure out like a starting price or what improvements to make, things like that. And when you start it with would you be open-minded to, everyone wants to be considered open-minded, right? Because the opposite is being closed-minded and you don't want to be labeled that. So would you be open-minded is prompting someone to say, yes, I'm open-minded. So they're less likely to reject what you're following that up with. Sorry, I don't mean to make this wobble. So that's a really great one. This makes people want to be more open-minded, and it's a really great way to help them be a little bit more agreeable. So would you be open-minded to reducing your asking price? Open-minded, sure. May not want to, but I'm open-minded to it because saying no is, you still will get no's, of course, but it's helping prompt to be more agreeable, which I think is really cool. Another one could be, are you open-minded to looking a little over your budget? If you keep showing houses and they keep not liking this and that, but that's truly what they're looking for or what you're going to find in that kind of budget, would you be open-minded to looking at a little bit higher price point? Because we might be able to get you into that dream home if you do. And, they're obligated to explore that option. Am I open-minded to that? It could still be a no, but they had to at least think about it rather than shutting it down right away. Really great one. The next one is an opening, a fact, and a question. So this is to simplify your opening and just kind of make it easy and polite. And again, trying to be agreeable with a fact. So you open. This is also for when you're maybe doing cold calls. So this is with someone you don't know. And you just want to really put your information out there in a non-threatening way, helping be a little bit more agreeable. So this is the example that I have for an expired listing, which I thought was really great because everybody, I feel like expired listings are hard to go after because you don't really know where to go with them. But they're low-hanging fruit. You just got to know how to go after them. So this is a really great way. Here's my example. Hi, this is Kristina with Stewart Title. I'm sure you don't know me, but I work frequently in your neighborhood listing properties. I saw that you were interested in selling your property at 123 Main Street. Are you still interested in selling? So that's saying, I know you were selling. I know it's expired. And I work in your neighborhood, so would you still be interested? It just kind of opens up the conversation in a very non-threatening way. And you get that information right away. Are you still interested in selling? Hopefully they are. If they're not, then at least you get that answer right away too, right? I think that's a really great one and something that you can use in lots of situations when you're just trying to give an opening, who you are, what you do, the fact, which was I saw you were interested in selling 123 Main Street, which is just a fact, you had it listed, and then are you still interested in selling? Very cool. Easy to apply. The next one, what is your experience? So this is when you're getting feedback from maybe your client and you just don't understand where they're coming from. So you really truly just need more information, but you don't want to sound aggressive, right? Like what? Why would you say that? That's not true. So this is asking, what is your experience? And I think, again, this is very easy to use and very non-threatening so that you're avoiding conflict, which there's a million ways you guys can need to avoid conflict. So I think this is really helpful. Take another drink. So again, it's what is your experience? So for people who say, I don't need a realtor, I don't want to pay the commission, things like that. They may just need further education, or they're basing this off of a previous experience or false information, things like that. So you can just say, well, what's your experience with working with a realtor? Maybe they have no experience, so they just don't understand the value of working with a realtor. Great. If they say, well, I've never worked with one before. You have, okay, so you don't really have any experience with working with a realtor. So let me just show you the value of working with me. And then you can give them all the benefits of working with a realtor and specifically working with you. What's your experience with selling a home? because maybe they're giving some pushback on selling their home and they think it's, of course, worth $1 million and it should sell tomorrow. Well, what's your experience with that? I've never sold a home before. Great. Let's talk about this. Or maybe they did have an experience and it was a really bad experience. So then you can put them at ease by justifying how you will avoid you, because now you know what their fears are. You can avoid those situations and maybe even be proactive in some situations to make sure that they don't occur. So again, what is your experience? The next one, how important is it? This is really great for figuring out what your clients or prospects priorities really are, because you're going to ask questions, and I'm sure you guys ask so many questions when you're going through and having them sign an agreement with you. But how important is it that you sell this home in the next 3 months? How important is it that we get you your asking price? That way you can figure out exactly what their priorities are. Is it more important to sell fast? More important to get that top dollar for your home? How important is it that you're out of the house by June? Whatever it is, you're kind of almost giving yourself a sliding scale on how important is it. That way you know exactly what your next questions are, because if it's more important to you that you're out of the house in the next 3 months rather than getting top dollar, then we may need to talk about a price adjustment. You know what I mean? So it's just really great, and a really great tool of how important is it. Let's see the next one. How would you feel if? This is another one, tapping into motivation and tapping into emotion. Because honestly, if something doesn't feel right to somebody or they're uncomfortable, it doesn't matter what's logical at that point, because they don't feel right about it. They don't feel right. Even if it makes all the sense in the world, if it makes them uncomfortable, it's probably going to stop right there. So figuring out how would you feel if? So again, putting emotion into it. How would you feel if maybe you're having, let's paint a little picture here. Maybe you have a client that hasn't sold, their home has not sold, and it's because the price is too high. You know it. So tap into that emotion. How would you feel if the house didn't sell in the next month? How would you feel if you got no other offers other than this one? And maybe that price is in their mind a little too low. But what if it's how would you feel if that's the only offer that you got and you rejected it? How would you feel if your home didn't sell quickly? How would you feel if you lost that buyer because you weren't willing to make those adjustments? How would you feel? I like that one, because you're tapping into emotion, and emotion pretty much trumps everything, because you could be making the most logical choice in the world, but if it doesn't feel right, you may not move forward with it. So tapping into that. Another one I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about, but I think I will, is just imagine. So when you tell somebody, just imagine, their subconscious just does start painting a little picture of whatever it is that you're telling them to imagine. It just happens. The author was even talking about like the science to back that. If you tell somebody, just imagine this really big green tree with, birds living in it. There's lots of nests, lots of life around it. You probably just imagined it. It might look different than what I imagined, but you still imagined that. So, saying just imagine helps paint a picture for somebody by telling a story, which if you've ever watched any of my Closing the Deal stuff, you know that I tell you how important storytelling is. So telling someone just imagine is a really great way for them to start telling a story, their own story in their own mind, and painting the pretty picture that they want to see. So if you say something like, just imagine how life will be when you move into this new place. Just imagine what it'll be like for all of your kiddos to have their own bedroom. Just imagine losing out on this property because there was a higher bidder. Different things like that, of figuring out what's important to them, because you could, again, this is kind of almost tapping into emotion again. Just imagine having a bigger home with all the rooms for all of your kiddos. That's, tapping into happy, and like, gosh, I would love that for them, and they would just go crazy having their own bedroom. Just imagine losing out on that home because of a higher bidder, creating almost fear and a little bit of stress. But again, tapping into emotions of, well, you're right, I really don't want to lose this house. Should we put in a higher bid? So I really like that one too. I'm going to say that about all these. Sorry. I really do though. I like all of them. Okay, so the next one, how certain are you? This is great when there's a lot of uncertainty and you need to gain some commitment. And just kind of questioning their judgment on things, because if they're, being a little bit stubborn and, you need to question their judgment and kind of, again, understand where they're coming from. How certain are you? So, how certain are you that this is not the best offer you'll receive? When they're ready to reject it, what if this is the only offer you receive? How certain are you that this is not the best offer? How certain are you that selling your home without a realtor will save you money? I'm sure you guys get that a lot of, why do I even need a realtor? What do you guys even do? They don't understand all the stuff you're doing behind the scenes. But then you can ask, how certain are you about that? And you know what? 99% of the time, they can't say, well, I'm totally certain. You have no idea. So it also makes them think of the other side of that. Of, well, I guess I'm not totally sure about that, but this is how I feel. And then it opens up that conversation and again, gives you the opportunity to build that relationship and build that trust. Ah, lots of talking, you guys. Gosh, I have lots of these. But they were all so good, I had to take notes on all of them. So, could it be possible? Again, you want to be open minded. Could it be possible? Saying no, it couldn't be possible is a really hard thing to tell somebody. No, that's absolutely without a doubt not possible. So, this is again when you're seeing doubt from like a prospect or a client and you want to show them what they overlooked. So, this is kind of helping gear them toward the suggestion that you are, pitching to them by making them admit that they're wrong. Not actually making them say, you're right, I'm wrong, because, we're trying to avoid conflict here. But saying, could it be possible? And them saying, yeah, I guess it could be possible, is saying, hey, I'm wrong. So trying to get to that. So could it be possible that working with a more experienced agent would be more beneficial for your situation? If you have like a luxury home and it's just not selling and they're kind of over their other realtor, but they're not sure what to do and it's about to run out, could it be possible that working with me might mix things up? Could it be possible that you get better offers working with an agent to sell your home? Again, when people say they don't need an agent, could it be possible that you might actually get better offers if you worked with an agent? Of course, it could be possible. You can't say no. Could it be possible that investing in staging could add thousands to your listing price? I've heard it time and time again that you guys are always almost hesitant. I mean, you guys know the situation better than me. I'm just picking up, what I hear from you guys. But when people do give pushback on staging, maybe giving some statistics, and I know that they're out there and I've heard them from you guys as well, but giving statistics on how much faster a house sells once it's staged and how much more of a price they tend to fetch because of that staging. So with staging, I understand it's an investment up front for your seller because you guys shouldn't be not advised to absorb that cost, obviously on a situation by situation basis. But making them understand, maybe if you put this cost up front, you could get this much more when we're actually closing. I'm sure you've had that conversation 1,000 times, but posing it as, could it be possible that you would get a higher asking price, or you could give it a higher asking price if we did stage? Let's see, next one. Help me understand. Again, avoiding conflict. They're probably spewing some stuff that you just don't understand. It doesn't seem logical to you. You need more information so that you can move the conversation forward. That's where you get to help me understand. So avoiding conflict without taking fault or without making them take fault for saying what they said, you're actually taking fault for not understanding. So avoiding conflict, help me understand the benefits of selling without an agent. So when you keep getting that pushback of, I don't need an agent, what are the benefits of not using an agent? If they bring up cost, talk about how people do end up getting or incurring more costs than they think they will without an agent. Or you might get a lower offer, things like that. Help me understand why you want to sell in the next 90 days. If someone is being very stressed that they haven't sold their home yet and it's only been on the market for, a few weeks and they start really freaking out that it hasn't sold and it finally comes out that they need to sell in the next few months. help me understand. Because maybe it's like a commitment or something that they were not upfront with you. Um, so you need to understand why they need to sell. And from there, if you really do need to sell in the next 90 days, we may need to talk about adjusting the price. Would you be open? Tying in another one. Would you be open to adjusting your price so that we can help you sell in the next 90 days? Help me understand your concerns about listing. So when you are talking about someone, they're like, kind of wishy-washy. I don't know. I got to think about it. Help me understand. Help me understand what your concerns are so that we can just address them right here. That way you're knocking out as many questions and concerns right then and there in your first interaction. And you can just try with the goal of moving forward faster. Obviously, you're still going to have those prospects or clients or whatever that are dragging their feet a little bit. And maybe it could be that they reached out to you a little prematurely, so they're not ready to move as fast as you. That's where you have that how important is it conversation. And you, again, understand their priorities. So the next one, that last one was help me understand. Next one is when would be a good time? So this is when no is no longer an option. They keep dragging their feet. They're not moving forward. You don't really understand. You've asked all the questions that you can think of to try and understand what they're going through, what their expectations are, giving out your expectations so you can move forward with when would be a good time to look at the area and see what homes are available. When would be a good time to look at the value of your home? And then once you lock that down, when would be a good time? Because it honestly makes it easier to say, oh, I don't know, I'll have to look at, even if you're being wishy-washy, I'll have to look at the next few weeks. Great, I'll follow up with you in the next few weeks. When you follow up, we'll use another one that we haven't even gotten to yet, which is as promised, but we'll cover that in a little bit. But the whole point is so that you don't get a no. When would be a good time? And I'm sure you guys have used this before, but use it intentionally. When would be a good time? That way you're not getting the no, you're getting, even if it's far off in the distance, you're getting a time, and then you can give them a commitment of, great, I'll reach out to you at this time. And then once you do get back with them, however long that is, follow it up with the next question of what's changed since the last time I saw you. So, maybe when's a good time for us to go look at houses? And it's been 3 weeks. Now you're finally with them again. Ask them what's changed. That way you're setting the correct expectations too. Maybe their financial situation changed. Maybe their timeline changed. Just to make sure that you're still in sync with them of what would be a good time, even down the road. I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to. So this is when you're giving them things or tasks and they haven't followed through. So this is when you're getting excuses and you've again asked them to do maybe a little bit more research on their own. You sent them some information to review and you never heard back again. It's time for you to reach out and, how do you start that conversation? You just, start it off with, hey, how's it going? I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to looking over those documents I sent you. When might be a good time to look over those together so that we can address any questions that you have? Haven't gotten around to making a decision yet on if you want to work with me or not. Again, what questions do you have? I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to that, especially since you haven't heard from them. Obviously, they haven't made a decision yet. Or if they did, then you're asking them up front. I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to making a decision on if you want to list. Maybe they low-key listed with somebody else and you didn't know, or you did find out because, it's listed. But then you actually get that honest answer. You're putting them in a position that they can't lie. Because they haven't gotten around to or have not reached out to you regarding. Either way, you at least get an answer and helps you open up the discussion for what the next steps may or may not be. Next one. You have 3 options. This one's a little bit harder, but I think it could be really effective. So this is giving choices when you think that your client is just kind of all over the place and they're like, I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? There's too many things that, if I do this, then it could ruin this. If I do that, then it might affect this. So you're putting it into perspective by narrowing their choices for them and giving them 3 choices, one of which is obviously easier and the one that they should go with, but you're giving them choices technically. So let me see what my example was. Let's see, put preferred. Oh, so you want to put your preferred option last. That way it's, the last one they heard, and that one's obviously the easiest option. So for a nervous first time seller, gather facts and concerns, three options. So the three options you have are a flat rate company with higher costs. If they say they want to go work with like a discount company or whatever it is, you could use a flat rate company with higher costs. You could do nothing and not sell, or you could just commit to me and I'll maximize the offers for you. Obviously, that sounds like the best option. Just commit to working with me and I'll get you the best offer. Sounds pretty nice. Yes, I'd like to go with the third option. So, asking what's going to be easiest for you. You give those three options. The third one is obviously the best and the one you want them to go for. And then you ask, which one's going to be easiest for you? And hopefully, if you posed it the right way, that third one sounds the easiest and it's easy for them to admit that that's the easiest option. So maybe we need to dig a little deeper and see what our next steps are. I'm getting a phone call. Sorry. Oh, okay. Well, now I missed the phone call. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. I like this one too because it makes people a lot more agreeable. I bet you're a bit like me. So using that phrase helps people get comfortable with agreeing with you because whatever you're about to say after that is probably very approachable and, you're already admitting that that's like you. So yeah, I want to be like you. It sounds silly, but our brains are wired very, very strange. So it makes others more agreeable. It makes them more comfortable with agreeing with you because you're already saying, well, it's like me. So there's nothing wrong with being like me. I bet you're a bit like me. You know the difference between price and value, and make decisions looking at the bigger picture. How logical is that? Yes, I am like you. I know how to look at the bigger picture. So it makes it easier to get them to see what you're saying and the value in working with you because you're a bit like me. It's very interesting how you can use that. I bet you're a bit like me. You understand this and that. Making things conditional. So this is something that we actually learned as kids. And I thought that was kind of interesting because you can still use it now. If you finish your veggies, you can have dessert. If you clean your room, then you can go play video games, whatever it is. So using if, then. So this is a conditional statement that you believe to be true, and you can use it to help position the outcome in your favor. So an example, if you put your home on the market now, then you could be closed by the end of the year. It's something you believe to be true. If you put the house on the market now, you could be closed by the end of the year. And it's also, again, kind of almost painting that picture of like, oh, wow, I could be closed by the end of the year. Then I could do A, B, and C, and we could sell it probably for this. And they're, jumping to all their own conclusions in their own little mind. Let's see, did I have another one? If you decide to work with me, then we can work to get you the best price possible. I messed up on my own notes. The best price possible. So again, if you work with me, then we can work together to, oh my God, where did my notes go? Then we can work together to get you the best price. So it's conditional stuff. Oh my gosh, it just signed me out of my notes. You guys are going to have to give me a second. But it makes it conditional. You're not promising anything, but you're saying, if we do this, then this could happen. And again, it gets people's brains going. I cannot believe it just logged me out. Okay. Let's hope my notes are here. Yay, iCloud. Oh, there it is. Oh, I got so scared for a second there. I didn't see it. Okay. Scary, but we're good. Let me just find where we were. Okay, so we did if, then. The next one, would it help if? This is to turn wishy-washy people into a yes. Would it help if? So you're offering help right off the bat to ease friction. Would it help? You're just trying to be a helper. You understand that they're not sure, they're not ready to commit. So would it help if? Let's see if I have some examples. Would it help if you could speak with some of my past clients regarding their experience working with me and understand the value I bring? So if they're not sure they should work with you, or why, you know, why you're suggesting A, B, and C for part of your marketing plan to sell their home, or things like that. Would it help if you could speak to past clients? And maybe you have some like friends or family that you did genuinely work with, and it's okay if you obviously have the green light if they need to contact them and just kind of walk through it. I would bet 9 times out of 10 they won't actually talk to them. But if you do have someone that is truly hesitant, it's nice to have that in your back pocket. Another example, would it help if you knew I didn't get paid until we close on a price that you're comfortable with? A lot of people are, of course, very nervous on what their home is really going to sell for. Is it going to sell for enough? What if it doesn't? What if I get really uncomfortable and I need to pull out of this? But knowing that you don't get paid until they're happy, I think that's a pretty good comfort. So, just offering help with whatever their concerns are. Would it help if, again, you're not committing to any of this? I mean, obviously, if you're saying something, they're like, yeah, that would help. Then you need to talk a little bit further on what the agreement is regarding that. But you can kind of dig through and say, would it help if I did this? Would it help if I did that? And see what kind of triggers them a little bit more and kind of expand on those issues. Let's see here. Would it help if? Next one, don't worry. This, is just to help keep people at ease, keep them relaxed. It's obviously a very stressful situation. Usually their biggest transactions in their entire lives. So things are, there's the hesitation to commit. There's the hesitation on, well, what do I do next? And how do I handle these things? It can get really scary. I totally understand that. So just putting them at ease with don't worry and creating that comfort. And again, the relationship building. Everything we do as far as marketing is know, like, and trust. If you can get people to trust you, like you, all of that good stuff, then you're really putting them at ease and it ends up being a really good experience. So some of the examples I have for don't worry is, don't worry, you're bound to be nervous. It's your home and you want to make the right choice. So if they're being a little hesitant on if they want to list, are they ready? Maybe they like you just fine, but is it the right time for me to list? Shoot, I don't know. Don't worry, that's what I'm here for, to help navigate you every step of the way. When they get overwhelmed, offers start coming in, you're asking them questions on how they want to move forward. They get overwhelmed and it's okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help navigate and guide you through all the nitty gritty. Let's see what else we have. So turning a negative into a positive. These ones I feel like are a little bit tricky because I just know what you guys go through and I know how people are. So turning a negative into a positive, saying the good news is, even if there's a negative, maybe their bid got rejected on the 13th house, because let's look at the market right now, right? It is very aggressive. So maybe they put in a bid for a house. It was going to need some repairs, but they loved that house, right? Well, they lost out on it. So the good news is you don't have to worry about putting any more money into that house, and we'll just move on to the next one. Let's see. So turning a rejected offer turned into a positive, that you don't need to make those repairs now. That you already know. The good news is that you already know that working with them. Oh, so if you're, maybe if you're working with someone this is actually, I'm sorry, I'm just remembering this now. This is actually in regards to if you're bringing over another broker to your company. So this is actually super, super helpful, because it's not even necessarily talking to a prospect or a client, but maybe bringing somebody else over that's worked for another company for a little while, but obviously they have their feelers out because you're having this conversation with them. Is the good news is you already know what it's like working with them, so now you can try something new. The good news is we're learning more. Oh, okay. So this is another one. Sorry, I took kind of bad notes on this one. So this is, if you've been showing houses, you've shown 20 houses, and your potential buyer just isn't seeing what they like. And they're getting a little bit frustrated. They're getting tired of looking, spending every weekend looking at houses. Well, the good news is we're learning more about what you want so that we can keep gearing towards this type of home and knowing what we need to look for. So just always putting a positive twist on things. Um, Again, I understand what you guys go through, and it could actually come off obnoxious sometimes if somebody's clearly very frustrated and you're like, well, the good news is. So, obviously, use with discretion, know when it's appropriate. But I think it's a really great way to just keep things positive. Because, again, if you're positive, your client acts how you act. If you're relaxed and you're cool and you're happy about it, they're a lot more likely to match your mood. Um, so, what happens next? That's the next little prompt is what happens next. So, this is when you have people that are kind of dragging their feet, nobody's moving forward. Um, you're putting it back into play. So, you're not waiting for them to say, "Yeah, let's go ahead and do this." You're not waiting on them anymore. They've been dragging their feet. It's time to move forward. So, what happens next? You're giving them the tasks that are happening next. Maybe it's tasks they need to take on. Maybe it's you letting them know what happens next is I'm going to be doing this so that we're moving forward again. So it creates reassurance and it creates a plan, which also makes it a little bit harder to get out of because if you're already saying this is what happens next, there's A, B, and C, here's your expectations, it's a little bit harder or maybe even just a little bit more uncomfortable to say, oh, well, no, I'm not ready for that. Because you've already told me what happens next. So I'm the one pumping the brakes now. So um, end with an easy question and that they can answer to confirm that they want to move forward. So what happens next is I'm going to reach out to the inspector and then we'll see what we need to do from there as far as repairs. Does that sound good? That's easy to say. Yeah, that sounds good. So, an easy question. Um, what makes you say that? Again, trying to regain control over a conversation. If they start saying things that, just aren't logical, they're freaking out, they're overwhelmed, which again is understandable. It's a stressful situation, but you need to understand a little bit more of where they're coming from while avoiding conflict. So, this is another kind of alternative. I know we've talked about this a little bit with another one. But what makes you say that? Oh, the other one was help me understand. So this is what makes you say that, to just understand where they're coming from, and then you can tackle each objection that they come up with. So I have some examples here of it's outside my budget. Your prospect, your client is saying that it's outside my budget. Well, what makes you say that? So you can better understand, and then figuring out, what they're actually like approved for, what they're comfortable with, what they've figured out for their budget. Is it really outside their budget? If it is, great. Then you understand why they're saying that. I'm not willing to pay commission. So what makes you say that? And that's where you can understand, pretty much regardless of how they respond to that, you're just going to come in with all the value that you bring to them and why they're paying that commission. So it, again, just kind of opens up the conversation to tackle each objection that they're giving. Another example is I need to talk to other agents first. Well, what makes you say that? Then maybe they'll talk about, what they're not sure about, what they want to talk to other agents about. What is it that they're looking for when they want to talk to other agents? Do they think that they're going to find a lower commission? That somebody's going to be able to sell it for a better price? Again, you can tackle all of those. You guys are the pros at this. You can talk about the value you bring, why you are talking about the price that you're talking about for their home. And then the last example I have here is, oh no, that's the last example, is just that it makes them take responsibility for what they're saying and further explain why they're saying it. So again, what makes you say that? Let's see. So next one here. Oh, like I said, my allergies, you guys, it's rough. Whew. Already 42 minutes in. I don't want to run out of time. Okay. Before you make up your mind. So this is when you feel a rejection coming. You feel like they are on the cusp of saying, no, I'm not going to list with you, or whatever that is. You're on the cusp of that rejection and you want to avoid that. So you say, before you make up your mind, and you give them some information. So you feel the rejection coming. You're going to open with more information, keeping it open-ended, and letting them talk about their concerns. So before you make up your mind, let's take another look at how the other listings did in your neighborhood and what we think we can sell your home for. Before you make up your mind, let's make sure you've looked at all the facts. Before you make up your mind, let's go over all the details again. So you're leaving it open-ended so that you can take control again and reassure them. Figure out where they're hesitant, why you may be on the cusp of getting rejected, and just going over the details, figuring out what comforts them so that you can avoid that rejection. So before you make up your mind, the next one, if I can blank, will you? So this is when you're getting pushback from clients. So if I can do something, will it help you do this? Will it cause this? So this is when you're getting excuses for external conditions from your client of, oh, I can't go look at houses this weekend. I have work. It's an external condition. You can't change anything. They have to work, right? So it's when you're getting things like that you can give these conditional offers. I'm sorry, couldn't think of what it was called. So an example is, if I can pick you up and drop you off, can you be ready by 7? So this is, we had these plans to go look at houses. Suddenly you're not available because of whatever the external condition is. Or this one is, I'm sorry, like my car's in the shop. Sorry, I can't go this weekend. Well, what if I can pick you up and drop you off? Could you commit to this time and date? If I can match their offer, would you agree to list with me? There's another one of, well, they said they can do this. Well, what if I can match their offer? Then can I get your commitment today? And that's a really good one that I feel like you can use for a lot of things, because I know I'm guilty of this too. So I know that it's a thing out there of giving external conditions that affect the situation. So it's like, well, it's not my fault. It's that A, B, and C happened. So figuring out how to combat those so that you're not getting excuses. I think that's huge. Maybe one of my favorites is asking for a favor. So if you say, I'm trying to think how he worded it. Oh, I need to stop touching this. Would you mind if I ask you for a small favor? The best time to ask for this is right after you did something that they say thank you for. If you got multiple offers, if you hired a stager that they're really happy with, if they had a really good experience with any part of it, and you ask, can I have a small favor? This is where you can get something out of this, which I really like. Hey, could you do me a favor? A lot of people, think about it. If I asked you that, hey, could you do me a favor and leave a comment on this video? Hey, you're really open to saying yes to that. At the very least, like, how likely is it that you're going to say no? You might say, hey, could you do me a favor? Depends what it is. At least you're still open-minded, right? So this is where you can get referrals. This is a really great strategy to get referrals is, hey, do you think you could do me a favor? And just let me know if you run across anybody that might be looking for a realtor, might be looking for, upgrading, downsizing, relocating to a different side of town, relocating from outside of the state. Could you do me that favor? So let me see what I have here for my notes. So it's securing a great offer, running a successful open house. These are the things that they might be grateful for, and a really great time to ask for that favor. A really great time to get referrals, get testimonials, things like that. Whatever it is that you need. Would you mind giving me a review on like Yelp or Zillow or wherever it is that you like to collect your testimonials? Facebook. So how? Could you do me a favor? You wouldn't happen to know someone who could benefit from this experience. So maybe there's somebody that you might know that is going through the same thing, that you have a first-time home buyer. You have friends that might be first-time home buyers, might be thinking about it. And to make it not non-threatening, you can follow it up because, there might be people that like, yeah, but, I don't know if I feel comfortable giving you their phone number. I haven't even talked to them yet. So say, don't worry, I'm not looking for details right now, but who are you thinking of? And then they might talk about it and be like, oh, well, it's my friend, Jessica's looking for A, B, and C, but I haven't talked to her about it. So, I don't know if I could give you their phone number right now. And that's great. You say, would you mind mentioning the experience you had with me to Jessica and see if she might be comfortable with me giving her a call? I can follow up with you regarding this if you feel more comfortable. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, I'll just give you a call and see if you got to speak to Jessica and see if we can move forward on it. It's not really pushy, again, because you're asking for a favor from somebody who already knows, likes, trusts, had an experience with you that was grateful to you, and you felt comfortable asking for that favor. So you're not just asking like some stranger off the street. So that's a really great time to ask for a favor. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm going to try and, oh, look, we don't have too much. This is totally going to wrap up at the right time. So as promised, this is another one I mentioned earlier. Um, to just follow up on things when you feel like you might be coming off pushy, don't apologize. The example he gave in the book was we are like hardwired to say when we call, if I call you guys and I say, hey, I wanted to talk about this, is this a good time to talk? The truth is, if somebody's answering their phone, we can assume it's a good time to talk. Apparently, that came about. I don't know how true this is, but he talked about it in the book. That came about of asking if this is a good time to talk because people used to just have landlines in their home, and you didn't know who was calling, and they're just picking up the phone because they need to pick up the phone. It's ringing. But these days, you know who's calling most of the time. You know who's calling, and you know if you have time to answer. We have no problem letting things go to voicemail these days, am I right? So assume if they pick up that it's a good time to call. It's a good time to talk. I'm sorry. It's a good time to talk. So don't follow in with, like being hesitant and basically not confident in your call that day. You know why you're calling. Be confident. Own it. And say, hey, as promised, I'm giving you a call today to follow up on A, B, and C. Do you have time to talk about that? Oh my God, I literally just said, do you have time to talk about that? After I just told you not to do that. That just shows how hardwired I am. So as promised, be confident. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Um, so just start it with as promised. This is why I'm doing this. Especially if it's on, like a website where you have to put in your information to keep searching and looking through listings. And, your next step is you captured that phone number. Now you need to call and say, hey, I saw that you were looking through these listings searching for this. Let's talk about it. So saying as promised, you put in this information, so I wanted to follow up on this. Let's talk about it. I can't believe I just did that. That's embarrassing. And then the last thing I have here is simple swaps. So asking for certain things, but making sure you're wording them in the right way so that it's a lot more approachable. So saying something like after your listing presentation, do you have any questions? 9 times out of 10, you probably get no, nothing right now. Versus, what questions do you have for me? That sounds more open-ended. Like if I say, do you have any questions? And I say no, then I feel like, oh, I don't know what I don't know. I don't have any questions. Shoot. Maybe I need to think up things. Versus, what questions do you have for me? That sounds a lot more open-ended. Like, ooh, what questions do I have for you? It just sounds a lot more approachable. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't feel like I'm explaining it very well. But what questions do you have for me? So it's almost like, okay, I've done my spiel. Now you can interview me. What questions do you have? And then to confirm that they have no questions, even if it's like, no, I don't think I have anything, then saying I have no questions is almost confirmation to just start moving forward. Let's start moving forward on those next steps. Another example is, are you working with an agent? That's really easy to say yes, just because I don't want to talk to you about it. And say, yeah, no, I have an agent, leave me alone. Versus, who is your agent? Who are you working with? That puts them in a position that it's harder to lie because you're asking for a name. And if they don't have somebody they've already committed to, it's a lot harder to lie. Even being in the industry, I'd be like, oh my God, what name do I spit out? So it's basically helping them admit that they don't have questions, that they don't have an agent, so that you are getting confirmation to move forward. Asking for contact information. Same with asking for like an email address. So what's the best email to reach you at? That prompts better response. What's the best email to reach you at rather than, why am I getting weird calls? I swear. I don't get real phone calls, by the way. I bet that was an extended warranty. Anyways, asking what's the best email to reach you at versus what's your email address? I'd be like, oh, I don't really, no, thank you. But what's the best email to reach you at? Fine, I'll give you an email. May not be the best email to reach me at, but it's probably a real email address. And it really just helps prompt more conversations. Again, all of these are just to help, prompt other people's subconscious to gear towards the answer that you're looking for, help you take control of the conversations that you're having. Again, asking lots of questions, which most of these are the beginnings of questions. Can I ask you for a favor? If I can do this, will you do this? What makes you say that? What other ones? Some of these are just reassuring, like, don't worry. Would it help if? I think that's a great one. Try and figure out how to use that because I feel like that is so, so approachable. Would it help? Because you're just trying to be helpful. How non threatening is that? You have three options. I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to. When would be a good time? I think that's a great one. Could it be possible? Opening people's minds to could it be possible that this could happen? How certain are you? How would you feel if? How important is it? Lots of these are questions. What's your experience with? Would you be open minded to? All prompts, like beginnings to questions. That way you're keeping control of the conversation. And you're just creating more opportunity to navigate through everybody's concerns and questions and really building that know, like, and trust. I'm always going to come back to that's what you're trying to build here. It's all about relationship building, whether it's a prospect that you're meeting for the first time or a client that's about to close tomorrow. Keeping with obviously avoiding conflict, creating reassurance, and letting them know that you are, willing to be helpful, trying to understand them, that they're in control of the situation, but really you are because you're asking all the conversation or all the questions. That's about what I have for you guys. I hope it really helps. I do have all of these notes. By all means, if you guys have time to look through all these notes, if you want to review them again, just to see what kind of prompts there are, I have them all written out with some examples. I think it would be super, super helpful. So if you guys are interested, definitely let me know. You can either comment, message. I'm available here. I'm available on Instagram, which I'll also be reposting this to. So by all means, I also, obviously have a phone. If you want to call or text me, my phone number is 505-264-5708. Email address krmartinez@stewart.com. More than happy to help you guys. I hope this was really helpful for you. I think it's really cool that they actually gave us exactly what to say. So I hope that really helps. Figure out how to use it in your own situations. I bet it'll make a world of difference. So with that, I think I'm done, you guys. I hope that this was helpful for the 14th time. Oh my gosh. And I think with that, I am out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.